if you're going to launch your business inside of whether it's a roofing business, a HVAC business, consistency matters on social media.
Yeah.
If nobody's watching it, that's okay. Just keep it going.
I can go through an event that costs me millions of dollars to maybe get 500 to 1,000 people in a room. Or I can make a video that takes me 30 seconds to shoot a clip, edit it, and I'll still get thousands of people the same eyeballs on it. And that's really the power of social media. And we do it really heavily in all of our brands and our locations. Because when you're building that brand for your business, you got to think that the people you want to hire are looking at it, right?
Once you get the activities, the discipline, then results start to happen. Because once they start to see it, then it becomes reality.
And I think the main characteristic is like this top sales guy, he knows he's a top sales guy,
That's it.
Right? He lives it, breathes it. Like
he knows what it looks like.
He knows what it looks like. And once you see it, it's like if I want to go be a $100 million business, I need to go see one. Like once you see it's possible, and you're like, oh shit, I can make it happen. You start seeing those little levers and stuff like that you can pull. And I love doing shop tours myself. And we open up our doors for any other companies that want to come in and see what we do, because everybody helps each other. Welcome to the Scale with Speed podcast. I'm your host, Victor Rancour. Today I have an amazing guest on here, someone that's been in this industry for over 2 decades. He is now the owner and founder of Top Rep, one of the top sales training organizations for multiple trades, not just HVAC, plumbing, electrical. We also got roofing, siding, pretty much anything that goes inside of a home. Chuck can teach you how to improve your sales. So Mr. Chuck Thokey, thanks for coming on.
And thanks so much, Victor. Your event has been amazing. This building is just unspeakable, man.
Yeah, we're really excited. Like I said, we've been excited to show it off to everybody. And it was hard to explain because I had never actually seen it in person. They were actually kind of hiding it from me. They wanted it to be all done, but about a month away from being done here in Columbus, Ohio. It's exciting what we're building, and excited to have people like you come, kind of break it in for us. So. Yeah. Chuck, tell my audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, and I obviously got to hear your story a little bit on stage. I mean, I've been watching. I watch you on social media. You guys are crushing it, and all the stuff that you guys are doing, from your sales training to everything. And it sounds like people you're working with are really doing well. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more of your story. So tell me your background and kind of how you got into this.
So actually, I didn't start in home improvement. I actually started as a aerospace engineer. I was actually the youngest aerospace engineer in the country at age 19. So no Doogie Howser, just worked really hard to get to where I was at. And from there, 9/11 happened. And about a year after 9/11 is really when it all kind of fell apart. The aerospace organizations tried to hold it together as long as they could, but 2 aircraft go into the side of a building. In a tragedy like that, no one's buying aircraft, so we kind of got displaced. And when I got into sales, namely home improvement sales, I didn't want to go back.
Well, I mean, I don't blame you. I had no idea how much money was in this space, right? And I still remember I was saying on the stage, the second I saw the pay plan for the first time, I'm like, you're going to pay me what to do what? I'm like, I don't know what I'm selling, but I'm interested for sure. And, just like you probably did, you got addicted to it.
Yeah, I mean, you top out at, well, now it's a little bit higher, but back then you would top out about 150,000 as an engineer. And for me, I had the funnest engineer job you could have, which is functional test. It's like a video game with real stuff. And, but I mean, it made great money, even for that age, it made great money. And getting into home improvement, getting into, 150 to, I mean, it's just crazy how much money you can make in this industry. I quickly made over $350,000, and that was over 20 years ago.
It's crazy. Like I was just talking to Leland Smith, and that's where I started with at Service Champions, and to see the guys that are there, the guys that I was working with, and now they're making the bottom sales guy there is making over $1.2 million a year. Leland was saying, I'm like, $1.2 million just to sell air conditioning.
That is amazing.
And so, obviously you found the industry, but you don't just develop skills overnight. Like was there something from the aerospace, thing that kind of transitioned into this, or how did you go from, what sounds like a little nerdy kid to selling, making $350,000 and getting people inside of a home to say yes?
Well, even it was Learjet that I was working at, and the engineers had to fly with the sales reps because sales reps will they'll fib a little bit.
Embellish.
They'll embellish just a little bit. And so they had to have us engineers to answer technical questions for the buyers, which we never talked. Nobody ever asked us technical questions. They just want to fly in the jet and take pictures. But during that time, we got a chance to actually listen. And I was one of the only engineers that wanted to go up with the sales reps. But so I learned a lot during that process. But when I got into, or when I left and got into sales, I got into insurance sales, which I hated. Did really well with it, but I just hated it. And then got into mortgage, loved it, but the bubble burst.
Yeah, that was a good time back then.
Oh man, I could finance your doghouse back then.
It was awesome. I mean, I remember because my family was heavy in the mortgage industry, and I was still a young kid at the time. I was in my late teens and hanging out with my uncles that were in mortgage, and I'm like, "What? You're spending what on what and doing what?" And I was like, "Man, that's what I want to get into." So I mean, I was coming up right when the bubble really burst in, and I was actually in doing loan modifications. So I was on the other side helping people that had, were about to lose their homes and stuff like that during that bubble crisis. But, it's not the same money as what they were doing when they were printing it.
Yeah. And then, from that got into bath fitter and did very well with bath fitter. And then of course, Able Roof called and said, "Hey, we want you to do the same thing you did with bath fitter. We just want you to do it over here," and turned that into a $220 million organization. So we had a great time. I love the home improvement industry. It's not a constant party, but man, is it just a lot of fun. No matter what it is that you're doing, it's a lot of fun.
Well, the good thing about the trades is there's always something new to learn, right? Like, and I come to the conferences like we're having right now, and I get to hear from other people like you and Trent and these other guys that are speaking, and it's like, I'm always big on taking bits and pieces from everybody, right? And it's all R&D, right? Rob and duplicate, figure it out. And I told the crowd today, once you have the knowledge, it's yours. You can do what you want with it. But I mean, I've been doing it for a decade, and I'm still find myself learning this new stuff. And I think that's one of the challenges that a lot of contractors run into is they learn one thing and they stick with it, right? Mm-hmm. And you're seeing now over the last couple of years during COVID, everything was real easy, right? Blind Monkey could freaking sell an air conditioner, right, and you can make a lot of money. And now we're transitioning into a new economy, and there's all these new technologies and all these things that in place, and the information is so abundant to customers. Like, you have to really change the experience and change the way you do business. And I think that's what's it's funny. There's a lot of the people that are on social media pounding their chest. They stop pounding it because they're like, "Oh shit, my business isn't doing good." They're going back to try to figure it out. And it's a constant thing. So what do you, I mean, you're training people from all different industries, but what are you seeing as far as like someone comes to you, my guys can't sell. What is like, you said the one thing you put your finger on that you're seeing is the biggest issue across different trades?
The biggest issue was COVID, because it was so easy. All you had to do was show up, and then everybody, like you said, pounding their chest like, "I'm a closer." I'm like, "You have no idea." And now we're calling this BC instead of before crisis, before COVID.
Yeah.
Because those people that were in business before COVID hit, they're like, "Okay, I know what I'm doing now." But those folks that weren't, we call them COVID companies. They're dropping like flies because they don't know what to do. They've never seen anything like this, and they think, "Oh my gosh, the sky's falling." It's like, no, it's just the same market we had, when before COVID. The other thing is no, it has never changed. The technology and the landscape has never changed as fast as it's changing right now. And it's funny when people say, "Oh, I'm getting a degree in marketing." It's like, that is the biggest waste of time, because the market and how marketing's done is going to change 50 times by the time you're done in 4 years.
No, 100%. I actually owned a marketing agency during COVID, and that was easy. Leads were cheap. I mean, I get a Facebook lead for $15 a lead, and it was like a money printing machine, right? And then now you can try. Now everybody's on social media, and the social media leads now are expensive, and they're probably the worst, shittiest leads you're going to get, right? But back when I first started, like, it was easy. But I was one of the people to adopt it right away, and I said that's how I grew my business. Well, then I saw it's like that book, Who Moved My Cheese, right?
That's right.
Everybody is still going to that same bite of cheese, and it ain't there anymore. And I think that's one of the things that for my organization, for Rocket Group, is we've been able to pivot, and we really monitor and track our marketing, and what's working, what's not working. And it's not like, "Hey, set it and forget it." Where a lot of companies are like, they're still going to the same well, right? They're still going to Facebook leads, or going to Google, and they're getting freaking murdered. And we've pivoted to a lot of different sources it's helping us to stay competitive. But I think that's probably one of the biggest things is people aren't changing, and they're not deciding to change. Or you'll probably run into this, right? Is actual training your staff. Like, people, like, they'll send you off to a sales trainer and say, "Here, I'm going to spend 20 grand or 30 grand and have them come in," and then they don't want to follow through with the training. You want to talk about, some of the things that maybe a company can do to really keep the training top of mind, keep the guys focused on it after you leave?
They need to turn their entire organization into a training organization. You know, they should be professional coaches inside their organizations. When you have a company, you bring in all your sales reps, they think it's like riding a bike. I'm going to teach them how to ride the bike, and they're good, and then and they're off into the sunset. And so this is why we want to work with the sales leaders, and we work with more sales leaders than we do sales reps. And the only time we really deal with sales reps is when I'm on site or if we're having our boot camps. Every other, if I'm going to do anything online, I typically deal with the owners and sales leaders. For one, I want it to be sustainable, but two, if I can teach that sales leader how to lead their staff, how to train their staff, how to hold them accountable, I don't need to touch their sales staff. And the other part is most sales leaders don't even know the job. They couldn't go out there and sell if they had to.
Yeah.
And so, we want to teach them how to do this.
Well, that's also a common misconception that your sales manager or leader should be a sales rep, right? Like every time I've seen a failure in a sales management position is when they took the top guy, is you're our top salesman, now you're going to be a manager. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you ever seen a top rep, how they communicate, how they walk, how they talk? They are not leaders for the most part. They're fucking lone wolves, and they go out and they hunt and they kill.
That's right.
One of the big moves we made in a business that went out, we just acquired in Colorado, right? We went in there, their GM was their old best sales guy. And the first day we go on there, on site, he's like, what do you think we should change? And I said, well, what were you doing before? He's like, well, I was a sales guy. I said, perfect. That's what you're going to do again. Then he went out first month, does $600,000 in sales. And now we're like, oh, the business is doing great. I was like, you got the wrong people in the wrong roles. I talked to a lot of the owners too, like for us at the Rocket Group, we train 5 days a week. So we have a live training, and obviously we're in 11 different markets, so we can't be there. So we're doing live training every day, but we do it 3 time zones. We do it, west or east, west, and our east, central, and west coast. So we have training all the time, and people are like, that's crazy. That's too much training. And I think that's one of the first things that we run into. We go into these companies, they've never trained before. And we're like, hey, we're going to make you train an hour a day, almost every single day. Now we don't make them join. They have to join 3 days a week, but we still do the training, whether they want to come on or not. And that's how we identify the guys that we want to focus on, right? The guys that show up are the ones that actually want to buy in. And when you get those guys to buy in, it changes everything. You go into a company, say it's a $5 million shop. They run it old school. They don't do much training. They don't have much processes. How do you get those guys to buy into what you're saying?
So the easiest way to get them to buy in is they usually come to us. They see our success. They see that a lot of their competition has already used us, and that's the easiest part. Now, when we're working with someone trying to get their buy-in, the first thing that we do is we get them to manage the activities, not the results. That starts the process. And then once they start to see once they understand the activities, then we bring discipline into it. But once you get the activities, the discipline, then results start to happen. Because once they start to see it, then it becomes reality. And a lot of them don't think that it's possible. We think we've exhausted everything. We don't know how Victor does, how he can be so big. He must be a freak of nature. It's like, no, he's following a certain process that he put together. Yeah. And it doesn't even matter what process it is, just get a process and follow it.
And we try to, we beat it until it freaking breaks. We beat that stuff all day. I was like, we trying to beat it into our guys. It's like our Houston location. Business has been around for 60 years. They've done it. That's how my daddy did it, and his daddy did it, and this is how we do it here, right? And we went into that business, and the first 30 days were rough. And trying to get these guys to buy in. The owner's like, what the fuck? And they, not working. I said, well, we got the wrong people in the seats. I said, let's go bring in some fresh blood, guys that are hungry. We brought in one guy. He starts producing. He follows the process. And then the other guys that are there start doing a little bit better. We bring in another guy, and he's crushing it. And they're like, what the fuck? So now all of them are like, well, what are they doing? Well, they're following what we said. So I think that, like you said, with the sales leader, it could be either, it might not even be a manager. It might just be that one guy, like the champion in the business. Some organizations can't afford a sales manager yet, nor should they when they're at a certain size. But if you can get one guy to buy in and say, hey, you're going to be the guy, you're going to be the champion for the business. And that's what a lot of the guys will come out to my sales training, and they go home and they start crushing it. Everybody's like, what the hell are you doing? And they're like, oh, that Victor guy is not as crazy as he sounds, So obviously sales is part of what you guys do. Like, are you guys doing business coaching or just mostly just sales training?
Mainly just sales and sales leadership. We will do the business. What's nice is we know so many. So there's a lot of other big coaches out there that will come into our organization if we ask them to. And, like people like Chris Voss and some of them, if we need somebody like that, we bring in Rob Thokey, some of these big CFOs, CMOs, if we need to. We have Dre Redfern, and he's just amazing. Dennis Yu. These people will come in when we ask them to help our organization or help a organization that we're coaching on a certain call. So we can, but we just don't promote it.
Nice. So, you go out to a lot of companies, and what do you think, is the characteristic you see between a successful business owner and an unsuccessful business? Like, obviously they all kind of, it always tells the same pattern. Like, what are you seeing? Because the crazy thing now is that the millennials, the guys that are, under 40, even in their 20s now, we're seeing these guys build these big organizations. What do you think is making them able to do that rather than the guy that's been doing it for 20 years? Why can't he turn it on?
Really, it's easy, whether they're coachable or not. Because a lot of the folks that have been in business, so one of our biggest success stories is a company out in Oregon, and GAF said, hey, they sent them over to us. They're related to somebody in GAF, but they sent him over to us. And when we started working with him, he would just buck everything that we asked him. Like, I need you to hire subs. I need you to do, and get into some of these. They're roofers. They had their own roofers. Everything was against what you should be doing. And, at first we were thinking about just walking away. And then what we did in that case is I said, hey, I have another client that's very similar to you. I had to turn their whole organization around. I need you to fly out and go and watch them for a week. And so they did. He came back a whole new person. They're on their third location. I got this phone call about a year and a half ago. They said, I've never had this kind of money in my account before. And it's just, you got to get them to buy in.
Well, and I tell people all the time, like, even when we get a new partner, we have them fly out to our larger location. They'll fly, hey, come see what we're doing, right? Because, when we got into, our first acquisition was in Arizona, a company called Fiscor. That was a year and a half ago. We got there and everything that we said, he said it couldn't happen. Not possible. This market doesn't work. That doesn't work. That marketing won't work. No, these people are like, you can't charge this and all this shit, right? And, he always says, he's like, crow's now my favorite animal, right? To eat, my favorite food, right? Because he's like, I feel like I'm eating crow all the time. And once we got in, and all of a sudden, nothing changes overnight. And I think that's where, some guys fail is they try to come in and change their whole business right away. Yeah. You got to take, it's on the last podcast, and he's like, you got to just take bits and pieces and like work a little bit at a time. And eventually over, 6 months, all of a sudden the whole business is different. The first thing we do is we make them come out and see it. Come do a ride along with our guys. Come see a guy that's, a technician selling $600,000 a month. Come see what he does. And then they come back and they're like, holy shit, it is possible. He's not special. Like you just said on your stage, like, I think you said that, what do you think that top rep does? He wakes up and levitates out of his bed and his pants magically go on and all that stuff. And it was making me laugh, but it's true. Like they think it's different. And I think the main characteristic is like this top sales guy. He knows he's a top sales guy, right? He lives it, breathes it. Like,
he knows what it looks like.
He knows what it looks like. And once you see it, it's like if I want to go be $100 million business, I need to go see one, right? Because once you see it's possible, and you're like, oh shit, I can make it happen. You start seeing those little levers and stuff like that you can pull. And I love doing shop tours myself, and we open up our doors for any other companies that want to come in and see what we do, because everybody helps each other, like know. So I would agree. So if you guys are a business owner, you're a small shop, come out. Chuck's probably got some great people he can introduce you to. Come do some shop tours. You can always, my doors are always open if you guys ever want to come out. But like I got the pleasure of working for one of the best run organizations in the country to start at. So I don't know any different. I only know the right way to do it. And I still remember I was working with Leland at Service Champions. The training was amazing, the processes and everything. And I'm working with these like animals, bro. Like these guys are straight killer sales guys. And then all of a sudden I left there. I got recruited to go work at another company, and I was the only shark in the pond. Yeah. And then you get there and you're like, I don't want to be around these people. Like they don't know what they're doing. And you got to see how these organizations run. And the one went from Service Champions training all the time to no training over here. And I'm like trying to get these guys to train. And I'm trying to get them to do these things. And it's like, I know what to do, but when you start getting around people that are successful, you magically become more successful.
That's right.
And I think that's what the blessing that I had is I got to see both sides of it and what a real company should run like and what that process looks like. So obviously you've been in this now. So how long have you been doing sales training?
So I've been doing sales training professionally for 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
It's a hard job. People don't realize what goes into being sales. Not only the sales training, it's the constantly looking for new clients, the constant promoting. And one thing I run into all the time, everybody's like, they give me shit because I charge for sales training. I'm like, dude, I don't do it for free. And it's really made me almost like fall like out of love with it, because I get some people like, oh, he's just trying to make money off us while he's a grifter. And I'm like, dude, like I genuinely try to help people. Like everything I've always done, I give them everything. And how do you deal with that? Like the constant, like always looking for getting new customers. Like, what's that like for you as a sales trainer?
So, when I first started, because getting into coaching, everybody wants to get into coaching. The Sales Institute will tell you 1 out of 1,000 sales trainers actually make it.
Yeah.
That is staggering. It's worse than the NFL.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to coach. Everybody's got a program. And so, you really have to want it that bad. And when you find out what coaching really is, it's boring.
Yeah.
It really, because I get off of a call and I'm going right back into the same, I might as well just hit play, record and then play.
My least favorite is saying the same thing to the same people over and over.
Yeah. And you're going to.
And you're going to. And I've been doing it now since 2020. So with almost 6 years, I started doing sales training, and I love it. I love the outcome. I love helping people. I don't love promoting events. Thank God I don't do big events anymore. I mean, I've never lost so much money in my life doing those things. Yeah. But like even hosting this event, like I just like, I think we were like leading up to it, like I hadn't got anything out yet. I'm like, it's just such a side thing to me at this point. But it's like, we do well. We do a couple $1 million a year, not really doing much, right? And so like for me, it's just like I'm trying to get back in love with it, but it's just like the way that we get treated, like we're just we're just fucking trying to rip people off and do all this stuff. And that's one of the things I hate dealing with. It's like, dude, like first off, fuck you. You couldn't do what I do, or you would, right? And a lot of them, like, and then there's a new sales trainer every other week, and then he realizes how hard it is to get people. You want to talk, like one thing that I noticed you've done really well is you've created your personal brand, and you've built up your brand. You want to talk a little bit of like how much thought process goes into what you guys are doing with that personal branding?
So it's the same thing, and I'm sure you've had this too, where you're like the overnight success. They just started. Somebody told me today, like I just started watching You're Everywhere. It's like I've been doing this, but it's consistency. If you're putting yourself out there and you feel like nobody's watching you, I still wonder if you looked at some of my videos. I'm wondering, man, that was a perfect video, and I get like 200 views or something, but I just keep it going. And as long as you just keep that personal brand going, it will catch on, but it's gonna catch on years from now. Yeah. So it's good to start now. I don't care where you at in your business, but you got to start now. Same thing with the business itself. If you're going to launch your business inside of whether it's a roofing business, a HVAC business, consistency matters on social media. Yeah. If nobody's watching it, that's okay. Just keep it going.
Well, it's, you say 200 people. Well, now imagine you're in your room with 200 people. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
And I think that's one thing with like, for me, like social media, I'm doubling down on it right now. Like I've put aside, obviously got a whole editing team and all this stuff. And we're like, okay, I'm going to go back into, I was doing it really heavy in 2022. I was investing a lot of money and time. And then people started giving me shit for doing it. And now they're all doing the same fucking thing. But now I'm like going back into it, and I'm just like, dude, I'm like, I can go through an event that costs me millions of dollars to maybe get 500 to 1,000 people in a room, or I can make a video that takes me 30 seconds to shoot a clip, edit it, and I'll still get thousands of people the same eyeballs on it. And that's really the power of social media, and we do it really heavily in all of our brands and our locations. Because when you're you're building that brand for your business, you got to think that the people you want to hire are looking at it, right? Yeah. So one thing that we talk about when we partner is like, hey, no, we got to start shooting, editing videos and posting it and talking about our culture and things we do. And, do I really want to pay for a private jet for my guys to go to Vegas? No, but it's not only do my employees happy, it builds great culture, but I share that to social media. Now people want to come work for the company. Everybody want to be part of it, right? One thing we do at our business now is like our onboarding day. So when our guys come in, we have all the uniforms set up. We have their tools. We have their truck. We have all their iPads. Everything's all set up. So we have like a big old celebration. Now we're starting to record that celebrations. We're like, hey, you show up here day one, you get a pants, shirt, and all your stuff's ready. Your van's cleaned out. It's already fully stocked. And we've been doing that. And that's all of a sudden like, hey, do you guys have that? Like, that's pretty awesome. Never seen a company do that. And it's just by posting this little social media video. So if you guys are listening to this and you're not investing on it, the other thing that really bugs me about contractors, and I do it all the time in my classes. I said, how many of you guys, if I went to your social media today, I would even know what you do? Your personal. So many people think it's only your company. You got to have your own personal brand too. Like if I go to your Facebook and I don't even know you own a company and you don't post about your company, you don't talk about your company, it's free marketing. Yeah. And you're able, and you don't even have it might not even be, most of the time it's not your friends that follow you that actually end up buying from you. It ends up being them referring you to someone. Oh, I know a guy that does roofing. I know a guy that does HVAC or plumbing or whatever it is. So if you are listening to this, just invest in it. It's one of those things, you got to build your personal brand. Otherwise, you're really losing an opportunity. I think at some point, social media is going to not be free anymore. And you're going to have to pay a lot of money to get in front of the same amount of eyeballs. Just like before, when Instagram first started, you can get in front of tens of thousands of people easy. Now it's like to get in front of 10,000 views on a video is very difficult. Or even TikTok, when TikTok was huge a couple years ago, now it's harder to get in front of it because now there's more people to it. So you have to adapt to the new social medias and where people are and get in front of them. So, well, Chuck, obviously we're going to wrap this up, but I just want to say what you're doing is awesome. Continue to keep doing it. If you guys haven't, had an opportunity to meet Chuck, go out to one of his trainings. Make sure it's the website
topreptraining.com.
topreptraining.com. Thanks so much for coming out. Thanks for spending some time pouring into my audience. Pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much, Victor.
Awesome. Make sure you guys tune into the next episode. As you guys know, business is a sport, so let's go win.